Welcome to Amy Learns to Cook. I'm Eric, and some of you might be wondering how I can be married to Amy all these years. Well, one of the reasons is she loves the smoothies I make for her every day. Because for breakfast every day, on the way to work, she drinks a smoothie, she eats some toast, and she's happy as a clam. Well, that and watching YouTube and stuff while I'm doing the driving for her, right? Yeah, we commute together. But otherwise, we're just happy, right? So in the last year or so that I've had this Vitamix, and I did do a smoothie video last year, but I've since learned a few things and I want to share that with you. So why don't you join me as I do a whole fruit, dairy-free smoothie. So we have a lot of good stuff here, but one of the things I learned is it's important what order we put stuff in here for that to turn out just right, right? And oh yeah, there's a pop quiz here. Why did I get the Vitamix? So long-term viewers know the answer. So, you know, raise your hand if you know, right? But I'll share that with you in a moment. So right now, what I have learned is, since I'm dealing with frozen stuff, and I'm not going to put ice in here because, you know, we're not going to throw dairy products in here and ice cubes and make a big old mess. We're just going with whole fruit with a little bit of grape juice. I found out that by holding off on putting the frozen stuff in first, just keep that in mind even if you're tired in the morning, that makes a world difference. If you remember from last year, I had that tamper and I was going because I had no idea what I was doing, right? I just basically opened up the Vitamix and I started making a smoothie, and it turned out okay, but it was far more difficult than it had to be. So this is pretty easy. And it doesn't matter what kind of blender you have, this part should work for you. So to keep from being super thick and then you got to water it down until it, you know, starts to churn, this avoids all that. So the first thing we're going to do here is I'm going to add 2 whole bananas, right? I'm just going with things that are room temperature or refrigerated first, nothing frozen. So 2 bananas. This smoothie is actually going to make it for 2 people. If you want for 1 person, then just cut this in half, except for the orange. Put a whole orange in. I'm going with 1 whole orange. I just got it all peeled and quartered. And now for something that is fun to say the least, carrots. I'm not a fan of carrots unless they've got butter and they're cooked. I don't really like raw carrots. But in a smoothie, or carrot cake, but in a smoothie, I don't really taste them. So I get my vitamin A and I don't have to taste them. So that's a win situation. Here, I know you're supposed to weigh them and all that, and I can do that. So I'm going to demo that really quick here. Got my little trusty scale. So we just go ahead and get the little cup here, zero it out. Zero, there he is. This calls for 3 ounces for a serving size. Let me get that in ounces. I'm going to put 6 ounces just because I want to get what I'm supposed to get right. And that's the equivalent of 170 grams. And we're going to throw him in there. At this point, it's not really necessary that I churn this all up. I will, just because, I don't know, seems like fun, right? And then we'll get the frozen stuff in here. Otherwise, just by putting this stuff in here, then the frozen stuff, and then the liquid, and then doing it all together, that's good. Doing the opposite, it doesn't work so good. I'm gonna put grape juice only because I like it, and it works good to kind of thin this out. If you have whole grapes, and you want to throw those in instead, by all means. I'm also putting in this case, 1.5 cups or 12 fluid ounces or close to it. And that works pretty good for this. If you're just doing half of this, then put in maybe 3/4 cup and half of all this stuff and you'll be fine. I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. See, turn him on there. Make sure it dials down. Hit start. give it a whirl. And he's all liquidy now. And that works wonders, right? Now, for the fun stuff here. This is basically, not that I'm sponsored or being sponsored, any mixed fruit works. I don't care if you're using strawberries or, like in this case, this has got mangoes, peaches, strawberry, pineapple in here, so it's kind of good. And they come with these little 1 pound bags, and I actually cut them in half because I'm cheap, because I like to make the stuff stretch, right? So because of that, I go ahead and I weigh it, and these are actually about a half, actually they're 1 pound. So if I get a half a pound out of it, or the equivalent of 460 grams divided by 2, so that's what, 230 grams, then that's good. So what I'll do here, just for giggles, is we'll put him on there, give him the knife, we'll go ahead and cut this in here, and see, I know my metrics a little bit. 245, I'm not gonna worry about that. And then that just means we'll be hungry tomorrow, right? And I wanna splash this. And now for the really fun part, the berries. This is just a 3 pound bag. I also got this at a club store. This is actually mixed. I like blueberries, they're great, but sometimes for a little more flavor, I'll get the triple berry. So these have raspberries, blackberries, and blueberries in them. And it's high in fiber. So basically, out of this whole concoction, we're getting vitamin C, vitamin E, vitamin A, we're getting fiber, we're getting potassium, so we're getting all kinds of good stuff. This, I'm just gonna put a cup. I really don't care about weighing it. And I just eyeball it. In this case, as long as the cup part looks like it's covered, works for me. Now this is what I love about the Vitamix. In a second, this is gonna sound like gravel. And if you're doing this with just strictly blueberries, it really sounds like gravel. And then in like 2 seconds, it's gone. So without further ado, go ahead and put this on here and we'll turn it on. See what I mean? And it's working. And I usually let it run for maybe 20 seconds just to make sure that a lot of the seeds and stuff are well ground up. In this case, this is reasonably liquidy. Had I gone with less liquid or done this in a different order, it'd be a lot more thicker and this thing would be struggling. And I think that's reasonable. So we're going to turn that off. And that's all there is. Now we get to do the fun part. Pour and take a sip. So before I take a sip here, the answer to the pop quiz for those of you who took the quiz is I broke Amy's KitchenAid Architect blender after a few smoothies that were a little too thick for it. So for those of you who remember, give yourself 100%, you passed the quiz. For everybody else, you failed. You must watch my previous video. Now for the fun part, taking the sip, right? Cheers. Flavors are pretty blended, which is really good. The orange juice and the bananas kind of counter each other a little bit. You also have some of the tartness from the berries, like the strawberry in there. So if I would have put more strawberries or more orange, then I would have needed more bananas to counter that. The carrots, they act as kind of, if I can barely taste them, I would say that they're like a little bit of a stabilizer. They're kind of neutral. They help with the thickness and everything, but it keeps it from being overly sweet. So that's another reason why I kind of like to put the carrots in there. Overall, I really like this a lot. I make a full pitcher of that every morning, and half goes to Amy, half goes to me. And I normally don't drink it that fast, but pretty close because I'm in a hurry, right? So I give this my 2 thumbs up, and I hope you guys try this and give it 2 thumbs up. This recipe you can substitute with whatever fruits you like, of course, and it will change it just a little bit. The bananas, if they're a little riper, they'll be a little sweeter. If they're a little unripe, then they're a little starchy, then it's a little on the less sweet side. So any given day, it can vary. But I love it, and I definitely hope you guys give it a try as well. And you don't need a fancy blender to do this. Any blender should be able to take care of it as long as you keep it reasonably, you know, thick, thin, whatever. Just don't try to put 10,000 pounds of ice in there, because then it can be messy, right? So if you like this recipe, I sure do, then subscribe below, give us a like, leave a comment, and also go out to our website at amylearnstocook.com and visit us on Pinterest and Twitter at Amy Learns to Cook. You got more, boo? Tasty.